Hey guys, today I've got Brett Leable on the podcast. Brett is the man when it comes to freshwater spearfishing here in the States, and I personally believe that this is a great opportunity for you hunters out there, for you fishermen out there to enjoy a new activity. It's really not that hard to get into it. As me and Brett dive into, there's a lot of opportunities that people don't realize are out there. And then the biggest thing from my perspective is that the community, this freshwater community right now, is very inviting. There's really not a limit on the resource. People are willing to take you to good spots, to dive with you all over the state. So we dive deep into that. You guys will enjoy this one. And just so you guys know, Brett comes from the hunting world. He's done a ton of elk hunting in his past. He's done a ton of mule deer hunting in his past. And we talk about how the two relate, spearfishing and terrestrial hunting. How is it similar? How is it different? How is the culture different? How do the skill sets transfer? All of that good stuff. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Hey Brett, love the fact that you're able to take the time, man. I know you got a big tournament coming up, so I appreciate you taking the time to get on here, dude. More and more of my audience is realizing that I'm obsessed with this spearfishing deal, and for better or worse, they're gonna have to hear about it. But I mean, you have a deep background as a diver. You're a proficient diver. You've dove saltwater, freshwater, everything in between, and we could talk about that for a whole hour. But I think the biggest and most important part of your background that I think applies to this conversation is the fact that you're also a hunter. Because that's what I want to talk about, man. Is this crossover idea that freshwater spearfishing, at least to me, and saltwater spearfishing too, is it's just another hunt, man. It's like another opportunity, and I hope that more people embrace it, because I feel like there's a lot of these other hunts out there that are in a different stage of evolvement, let's call it, right? And they're a little bit harder to get into. So, anyways, man, welcome. Thanks for joining me, dude.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm really looking forward to it, and I love your podcast and listen quite regularly. So let's go.
Yeah, for sure, dude. So let's talk about this land-based hunting concept, man. And I guess give folks a little bit of a background on your land-based hunting, and then how you took that into the spearfishing world, and maybe some even like crossover stuff that you noticed between the two
Sure.
activities.
Yeah, sure. So, like growing up in Wisconsin, I hunted everything that I could, and read every bit of adventure reading I could read, and that really sparked my interest. And so, basically, after college in 2004, I moved out to Colorado just to kick it around. Did some guiding, horseback stuff, for elk hunting and deer, and did that stuff to kind of, earn my time in the seat to be a client of my own and do some
Sure.
personal hunts, elk and deer and bears. So I've kind of hunted it all and done it all in Colorado. Shoot, I don't know if I told you this, but we used to every Christmas I would put on a Santa suit and go with a couple buddies Christmas Day after we got done with our morning presents, and we would go track lions. Christmas Day in Colorado lion hunting was so epic. And yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Only one time the cops were called. That somebody said there was a drunk Santa with a gun. Most of that was true. I wasn't drunk. I don't know where the drunk part. The cops sorted that out. We all had a good laugh. But yeah, man, just love to hunt. Shot every duck in North America except a cinnamon teal, and just really enjoy that. Spearfishing is literally hunting the water. So
Sure. And why did you get into it, man? Was it a location you were living in, or that sort of thing?
yeah,
Or was
super
it just another
random.
opportunity?
Another opportunity as a sportsman, right? Like my buddy growing up, his dad owned a dive shop, and we grew up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, on the Lake Michigan, and his dad owned a dive shop right there in Lake Michigan. So we would just raid the dive shop and come across whatever manner of equipment, wetsuits or not, masks, snorkels, pole, little 3-prong hand pole spears, and just took them out and just started spiking fish and got really into it. Started shooting really impressive perch out of Lake Michigan, and just would have giant fish fries and parties where we would all get together and just do it. It's kind of like this redneck thing. And we bow
Sure.
fish. We did all this stuff, right? It was just growing up in the '90s was wild. So
Yeah, it's
um,
funny though. It's funny you say like you say impressive perch, and you also have like a certain enthusiasm about it, Brett. And I'm sure like a bunch of my audience is like, what is he talking about? Like, how can he be excited about that? But I think that's like the magic of spearfishing, right? It's
yeah,
like I can relate. Like I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like the first time you three prong a fish, it's like it's exciting, man. It doesn't matter if the fish is this big or whatever. It's like a different hunt. So I just had to point that out because I know there's people in their truck right now that are like, what is this guy talking about? How is he excited about like and it's like that's the epitome of spearfishing, man, because it's like a new adventure, and there's a lot of variety to it that I don't think people realize, So go.
100%, 100%, man. And I think part of it is that challenge, right? Like you go from tree stand hunting in Wisconsin and over a bait or whatever nonsense on, your back 40 to then you read the books of Africa and the Western hunts and you want to challenge yourself, right? And you're a young lad, you don't have that opportunity. So, man, I can get in the water and chase fish down and hold my breath and dive down and like
Sure.
challenge my body. That's a huge achievement in a man's development, right? So, I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
partly where my passion comes from is that kind of mind body challenge. And, you
Yeah, no,
know,
I get it, man. I have to laugh, dude. So I mean, just so the audience knows, you didn't send it to me unprovoked. I always ask for like thumbnail pictures and stuff for the podcast and YouTube, and people see those. So one of the ones you sent me, man, I was laughing my ass off, dude. The one that you've got the deer, and then you've also got I don't know what kind of fish are they, man?
yeah, that was actually in Colorado. So that was one of my best favorite little. My wife took the pictures of me, and she's like shaking her head the whole time. She doesn't put up with my nonsense as much, but she doesn't think I'm as cool as I think I am. But yeah, man, that was a mule deer, a really epic mule deer hunt up and around. It was a high country mule deer hunt, so like I think that deer was killed at like 12,000 feet outside of Crested Butte.
Okay.
And then I came down out of Crested Butte and got into a lake out there and shot a bunch of epic pike. And the biggest one I got was 23 pounds that day. So to start out at 12,000 killing a deer and packing it out and, all that goes into a solo backpack hunt like that. And then coming down, setting my base camp at the lake, my wife, I called her and said, "Hey, I got my deer done. Why don't you guys come over for the rest of the weekend and let's do some fishing." And she came over, and I ended up shooting a couple really nice pike in the water. Yeah, that picture was just hilarious. And
Yeah,
there's
dude,
some more iterations. It only got more wild from there.
I got you, dude. That's a good one though, and I can totally relate to the wife shaking her head while you take the picture. That's usually when you know it's a real good adventure. To be honest, man.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
my old beard, my gray beard, is not as dark as it used to be. So I actually had to get into the campfire and get some ash and really darken that up and just feel just more, bold.
Sure. No, I hear you, dude. But it is again, it like drives to this crossover thing. And I told you before before we started in my membership group, I actually asked, there's like 1,400, 1,500 guys in there why they don't spearfish. And I actually had a handful of guys that do spearfish, and they actually had some insights themselves. And then I had just a big list of reasons, why people don't view it as an attainable thing. And one of the biggest ones, Brett, is access. And I have my own feeling about that, but do you mind addressing that and giving me your opinion on that?
Yeah.
Is like a barrier that people see?
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, if you think of spearfishing as ocean based, you're going to limit yourself to living within 3 to 6 hours of the coast, right? And those places, like the coastal places, are beautiful, but they're also very expensive, right? So, not a lot of the people live around the coast. And so they're more inland. And if you don't think of freshwater as a viable place to spear fish, you just look at that lake, you drive by it every day, or that pond or whatever, and you're just like,
Right.
It's just a place for bass guys to go and play with their worms. And you don't realize that you can get in that water and force feed some fish some steel, and it's pretty fat. It's pretty fun, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
sure.
just kind of, I don't know if I dispelled any rumors or ideas there, but most states in the United States have provisions for freshwater spearfishing, and I'm working to with the National Freshwater Spearfishing Association. I'm working with them to just advance opportunities for game fish and edible fish. Right, growing up in Wisconsin, we could only shoot rough fish, so carp, suckers, bowfin, and we get to shoot the panfish, which is like perch, bluegills, crappies, that kind of
Sure.
stuff. You couldn't go after walleye. You can't go after pike. Every state is nuanced, but every state has opportunities, and they're all fun.
Right. And it's funny, man, because I actually thought when I asked this question that would be part of the answer for a lot of people. And that's that, hey, I don't, just regulatory wise, I'm not really interested in spearing stuff that I can't eat. And I didn't get that response. I got a couple of them that were related to that, but it didn't actually come up that much. I still think that as regulations change and more, let's call them edible fish or whatever, the fish that we think of as game fish, are you're able to spear them. I think it'll make a big difference. I don't. Do you
Sure.
have a thought on that?
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's proven in Michigan, right? So Michigan, in the last few years, really on a trial basis, opened up their fishery to go after walleye, and they've had 4,000 spearfishing permits each
Oh,
year
okay.
the last 3 years.
Sure.
So 12,000 spearfishing permits were given out, and that just proves that if you have the opportunity and you have somebody driving a grassroots movement, you're going to get participation.
All right, guys, my Spring Bear online course is up on the website at pursuitwithcliff.com/Spring Bear. I've taken all of my knowledge, everything I've learned on over 50 successful spring bear hunts across the states and across Canada. All of that I've shoved into this course. Right now, there's already 6 or 7 hours up, and I'm going to continually improve this course. Once you sign up, you'll have access forever. All of the information and the full course will be complete by the first week of April. There's a ton of knowledge, a ton of tactics, a ton of gear talk that's going to help anybody who's preparing for a spring hunt. Go check it out. Dude, I think that'll be a huge one, and we could talk about how. I mean, I've gone back and forth with this because I have like so many different things that I'm doing in my life. But in the back of my head, I'm like, dude, that's one that I would love to help and support. And it's weird because it goes back in like a weird way for me, Brett. Like when I was a kid, so when I was from, I don't know, man, like 4 years old to 18 years old, every year we went to San Jose del Cabo. You might be familiar with the region, just on the east cape of Cabo San Lucas,
Oh yeah, oh
And,
yeah.
my uncle had a charter business there. He had it for 30 years. Unfortunately, he died unexpectedly about 2 years ago. But anyways, we would go down there every year when I was a kid, and back then there was spearfishermen already, on like the structures that he fished, and he hated them.
Yeah.
Like verbally
Oh
hated
yeah.
spearfishermen, man. And it was like I always remember in my mind, and I loved my uncle, dude. Like to the day he died, like he was. We were like kindred spirits because we were in the guiding business, right? So
Sure.
even from distance, like I always. But I never agreed with him on it because it never made rational sense. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, we're filling the boat full. A lot of times we'd be fishing for, Pargo and grouper and stuff, and we'd be filling the boat with them. And he was like disgusted with the spearfishing
Yeah. Yeah.
community. And so but I never could like come to a rational argument in my mind. And then of course, once I started diving even more so, I was like, well, it's, just is what it is. And I understand there's always going to be that friction when you got a resource. But to this day, dude, I don't see how there could be a logical argument that there can be take bag limits for rod and reel guys, but no take bag limits for spear fishermen.
Yeah, it's bizarre, and we work closely with a Utah Fish and Wildlife representative, and he's in charge of, get this, all different methods of take, right? Like the fly fisherman hate the hook and line guys.
Yeah,
And
sure.
you know what I'm saying? Like, the fly fishermen only want to just lightly play with fish and then let them go and high five them on the way or whatever they're
Right.
into, right? And
Yeah.
everybody has their own way of doing things, right? Like archery guys really look down on muzzleloader guys, and muzzleloader guys look down on rifle guys, or whatever sport you're in. We try to always like separate ourselves and try to pretend we're somehow better than the other guy. But the
Sure.
one thing everybody has in common is if you mess with in that guy's industry, if you mess with his money. So a
Yeah.
spear fisherman is out there just trying to like get a fish to eat or two, and a guide like your uncle is out there trying to make a living, and he's got to put
Yeah.
a pile of fish on the boat to get a big fat tip from his clients, right? Like that's just how
Right.
that works. I get it. I was a guide myself. I mean, I needed the tip. It didn't pay very, very well. So, Michigan's found this out too. They had this big pushback about walleyes. Oh man, this is the walleye capital of the world. Blah blah. That's debatable, but whatever. The guides are like, these walleyes are going to get slaughtered. All the big ones,
Sure.
because they see their money being threatened, right? They see their little stranglehold, and so it just hasn't borne out. Like Michigan did kind of like a HIP program, harvest information program,
Okay.
where every one of the 4,000 people, whether you spearfished or not, every month have to answer a survey during the season, May through October. Every month you got to do a survey, required.
Right.
And the numbers just don't bear out, man. The numbers are so skewed in hook and lines favor in terms of take that it's insane. And then you take that juxtaposed against Utah, where they got a whole segment that's like looks at certain fish like trout as holy cows, sacred cows.
Sure.
And they need to take some of those fish out of that closed loop reservoir environment, because when a lake trout gets to be, 30 pounds, that sucker is eating 10, 12-inch rainbows a day to maintain.
Right.
10 a day. So what does that cost to feed it, right? So spear fishermen, man, if you let me shoot one lake trout, and you want me to, it's prescribed, let's say, for your management of your ecosystem. Like, yeah, dude, I'll do that, and we're gonna eat it, and it's gonna be great. And then the hate mail comes about how it doesn't taste good or whatever, and I'm like, come taste it. Come to my house, bro. Like, I will give you some. It's excellent.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is it's like any other resource management. If there are issues, and I'm pretty naive on the freshwater stuff, Brett. I'm sure there's certain instances where there's some logic, right? And I don't know them, and you could probably give some examples, but you can have slot limits, or you can have other regulations, just like everything else. It's just, and I think the other thing that's important for people to understand, that regardless of what kind of fisherman you are, catch and release, fly fisherman, whatever, like you're still impacting the resource. Like
without a doubt, you're impacting through spreading disease, touching, getting the slime off. Look, I'm a lifelong hook and line fisherman.
Sure.
Like, I love hook and line. I pay money to the Billfish Foundation every year. But guess who also would love to launch a spear into the gills of a billfish?
Sure.
You know what I mean? I can love the resource, and I can eat and utilize the resource and use that as a sense of adventure and an outlet for passion. Like, it's all okay, man. It's all okay as long as we work within the framework. And these guys are biologists; they get paid to adjust and monitor every year, right?
Right. Sure.
Like, we'll work together. Same team, same side.
Yeah. And it's just another user group that's interested in utilizing some of the resource. And it's not, the thing is, it's super common in hunting. It's super common in all sorts of other resource management. So it goes along, but let's circle back to, I guess one question I have for you related to that, Brett, what do you feel on the freshwater side? What's the momentum right now? Is more like, if you looked at it 5 years from now, is it going to be more opportunity? Is it going to be a struggle? What's your feeling?
Definitely, it's gaining like super amount of traction. I actually had a pretty famous Instagram saltwater diver, text me today. She's preparing for the national tournament that's in freshwater on Friday, 4 days from now or whatever. And she's like, I really could get into this freshwater thing, which is like a huge compliment coming from somebody who lives on Tampa Bay, St. Pete, right?
Yeah, I got you.
And it's
Sure.
like, heck yeah. So we're gaining a lot of popularity, but we're also not like in the same sense, we're working on improving access to the game species, but like we're also not running out of public land, right? Like Colorado, when I moved out of there, I felt like one of the reasons was we were running out of public land for the amount of users.
Sure.
I kind of feel like we needed to raise our rates on non-residents even more. Like I mean, that's a pretty hotly debated topic. I mean, I get the
Yeah.
resource is not an individual one; it's a nationwide. Like everybody should
Right.
have the opportunity. But freshwater isn't constrained like that at all. Freshwater has all the opportunities. All the states have lakes. Everybody who's listening right now could join and spearfish one lake or one region, and as long as they're not all in one lake together at the same time, they're really not going to do harm as long as they follow the prescribed,
Sure.
conservation regulations.
Yeah, and you're talking about within the context of the laws today. Do
Correct.
you do you think like I know this is hard to handicap, Brett. Do you think there'll be expansion with the laws? Like do you guys feel like as you work with different states that it tends to be positive, or is there brick walls?
No,
Like
it's positive. It's totally
okay.
positive. We're seeing a lot of like turnover now from the old way of thinking, right? Like the older generation, whatever, that has
Sure.
been managing the resources from the 70s on. They're retiring, and we're getting the people that are our age, you and I. When I grew up in Wisconsin, we used to have what was called the walleye wars, and I don't know if you've ever heard much about that, but
No, dude.
oh, bro, it was insane. Like my dad, ended up like hated the Native American tribes up around northern Wisconsin where we had our cabin, because they would go out at night and traditionally, with lights, they would traditionally spear, through the
Oh,
Ceded
okay.
Territories Act, and they would spear the fish. They would get into fist fights like in the 80s. My dad would,
Yeah.
it was dumb, a lot of wrongheadedness. And then people like that became in charge of the resource. So spearing was like they totally had this
Oh,
PTSD
I got you.
reaction. Yeah,
Sure.
the walleye
Yeah,
wars.
yeah.
It's a great book about it, and it sort of
Yeah.
explains it. And just this is a backwards way of thinking we've had for 35 years of management, and those people are retiring. Tempers have cooled down. People are understanding that this is more of a sustainable way of take than any other. There's no bycatch. There's no catch and release mortality. Like if I shoot the fish, it's going to die. But
Yeah.
once it dies, it's in my bag. I take it home and I eat it. Like I'm probably done spearfishing for the day, right? Or whatever.
Sure.
After I've hit what I consider to be what I can feasibly use or feasibly, freeze or store. I mean, I'm done.
Right.
Like I don't need to stack 200 pounds of walleye in my boat. Like that's crazy. I just go get some more
Sure.
tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I hear you. And man, this is what this is my pitch to people who are maybe well, first of all, I think we talked about this a little bit before the podcast, but a lot of my world, man, Western hunting, elk in particular, I would call it's a very mature, it's like it's matured as an activity, and there's a
Yep.
lot of interest, and and unfortunately, I don't see an increase in like aggregate, opportunities for people. For we could talk about it
Yeah.
forever, but there's no, I don't see, there's not going to be an additional 30,000 elk tags that show up on the landscape anytime soon, and there's probably going to be 30,000 less at some point. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the question with it is like, that there's some frustration with that amongst people because you're almost battling for this resource. That's the big appeal with freshwater spearfishing from my perspective. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Is
Totally.
because it's in a different stage where there's, you're not limited by the resource really. And
No.
I think that kind of that trickles into the culture a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, from what my experience hunting in the West is, whatever opportunities now are going to be limited to how much money you have, because the private lands are able to manage their little 10,000 acre chunks kind of independent. They can take 5 people to hunt or 50. It's up to them. And, I think the cost is going to go up, and that's going to drive these little microcosms of conservation in these particular units and areas. Whereas freshwater is a public resource, like you said, anybody can get in there. As long as we're following the rules, we're never going to deplete the resource, and as long as we keep working together to further the initiatives and open up some more areas, like we've opened up Arkansas, Utah, Montana, and Michigan, by working within the, just within the parameters,
Sure.
and just essentially just building on positive change. Like, it's absolutely going to be more opportunities going forward.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Brett,
Can you
is
can
that on
you
your
hear me?
side?
Yeah, my wife's shooting guns with my son. Let me just tell him to stop, or at least
It's
put a
like,
suppressor on. Sorry about that.
no, dude,
We couldn't get the
that's
suppressor off the 22 rifle. We had to put it onto the pistol. The whole thing when you have a 7-year-old who's a nutcase who wants to shoot all the time.
that's the best edit that I've probably ever had to do mid podcast. But anyways, on the freshwater thing, I think people discount, Brett, like getting into an activity. You know the analogy I always use. Are you familiar with the movie The Endless Summer, the surfing movie?
Oh yeah, but it's been so long ago. But okay,
Okay, so
let me hear you.
but yeah, so the analogy I use for people, and I don't use this just in the context of freshwater spearfishing, but other activities that are maybe like on the other hunts that are kind of like on the rise. Like the Endless Summers, this surfing movie, it came out, and if you watch the movie, it's like this epic adventure because it's following these guys that go to all these different surfing spots all over the world. Everybody's welcoming, like everybody, like a lot, it's like hosting them, showing the spots. They go into these spots, and it's just one or two guys surfing. And if you watch that movie, you would want to be a surfer, right?
Yeah.
Because they hit it at the prime time. But now you could go back to any of those spots in that movie, and it's like it's not fun at all because it's
Sure.
like everybody's fighting over the resource. Everybody's got everybody's negative about it. Everybody's blah blah blah. But it's like if you can, I truly believe this. If you can capture activities and passions in your life at a stage where they're growing, it's awesome
Yeah, you
because
bet.
you get to catch like that magic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I mean, I kind of feel like, and what I'm getting at is I kind of feel like freshwater spearfishing is like at that moment. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure, man. And I'm actually just reading a book right now called "The Last of the Blue Water Hunters" by Carlos
Oh,
Islas.
it's a
Do
good
you know
book,
that book?
dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I've read it. This is like I read it like every so many years, right?
yeah.
And I was just reading it about he went to Catalina Island and he was entering the blue water meat, right? The blue water
Hmm.
meat. And he talks about how he likes that meat because they're only after one big fish and all these different reasons. And then he's in the tournament, he gets done with it, and they're at the banquet, weighing in, and he's talking over with, I think it was Bob Donnell, and he's talking over with like Al Shepardnoff Jr., and he's like, man, what are these guys going to do, man? The blue water opportunities are gone to hell. Like, oh, this is terrible, and blah, blah, right? And you're like, what? This is
Yeah,
1971.
yeah.
And they're talking about how it's over.
Right.
Clearly, conservation has changed. The bluefin tuna has made a huge comeback in California. White sea bass is still pretty epic in California. Yellowtail can be
Sure.
pretty epic on the patties in California. But like everybody complains about the state that you're in sometimes, like the state
Right.
of the time, like the good old days, right? But
Yeah.
freshwater really is on the up and up because it's just like it's not new, but it's just like newly being advertised, right? And part of that's my own
Sure.
fault. I try to pump it up and get more people involved, which is okay. Like, dude, I can only dive like 6 or 8 states a year, right? Like,
Sure.
wherever you are, get in the water, man. And there's a good chance there's nobody there, and
Right.
do it as cross training. Do it to stay in shape. Do it to experience hunting and stalking on a new level. Do it to test your breath. Do it to just test yourself. Do it to get your kids outside and get them off the iPad or whatever, right? Like, there's so many reasons that freshwater is the new final frontier, right?
Guys, biltong, okay? I have been obsessed with this stuff for 3 or 4 years. Ever since I got on a keto, carnivore, paleo-esque type of diet, I've had a hard time finding healthy snacks. Biltong is a great option, particularly the slabs that have this fat on the side. That's where your energy is if you're a fat burner like me. Super simple ingredients in this, guys. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ingredients. Compare that to your gas station jerky. A great snack in the backcountry or just day to day. Biltong Depot is a huge supporter of my content. Go to their website, biltongdepot.com. Use my discount code CLIFFG, CLIFFG for 15% off at checkout and to support this content. Thanks, guys. Yeah, no, for sure. But I think a big part of it, man, is like you guys are so welcoming. Like unfortunately, I have so much shit going on in my life. It's been hard for me to take advantage of this, but I've had lots of guys that have offered like, hey, come dive with me, and then I realized like, oh, they're gonna take me to like a spot, like one of their spots, like I like an elk hunter would never do that. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
And like an elk hunter, a mule deer hunter, muley freak is never gonna take you. But and the same thing can be said about some of the California and the Florida guys.
Yeah.
Like their numbers are sacred to them out in their Gulf or their region, right? And but like freshwater is like, dude, like we're here to have a good time. It's a very welcoming, open party. Like hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can find me. Like Google my name, and I'll come up. And yeah, dude, I'll take you to a spot. Or if you're in Utah and I can't go, I'll be like, oh, Cliff, you're in Utah for the weekend? I'll hook you up with Jake. Big Jake Lawrence is over there. And not only are like we're gonna help you go to a spot, like our secret spot or whatever, a spot. We'll give you gear. Like you need, you don't have a good wetsuit. Don't worry, bro. I got like 8. You need some guns, whatever you need. Like we want everybody to come and realize like freshwater is fun water. And dude, we're all hunters. We're all fishermen. We're all like blood brothers in different outdoor pursuits,
Yeah, looking for another thing to have fun doing. Now, Brett, is there another? Because I felt that vibe from a lot of people, and a lot of them are like within your circle. So like maybe I'm getting like a biased vibe, but is part of it also is there an incentive amongst the freshwater spearfishing community to try to get numbers for this regulatory concept? That's not what it's about.
We just love spearfishing.
I got you.
With more people, and like one of the funniest ways we've done it. One of the funnest ways we've gotten more involvement, more engagement, and I'm very active in this, is running these tournaments. Yeah. We run freshwater tournaments, and like right now we have an online tournament, which can be done out anywhere you can get in the water. So we have an online tournament. Then we have 3 regional tournaments. One's in the Rocky Mountain region, Utah this year. One is in we call it the Midwest region. That's in Arkansas this year. And one's in the Great Lakes region, and it's going to be in Michigan. And then besides those are the regionals. Those are like the big tournaments where we have tons of support and tons of like trophies and prizes and raffles and gear and giveaways. Like they're like super fun, engaging events. Like the banquets are legit. People hang out and drink beer or whatever soda pops you like, and just share stories and have fun.
Brett, let's say
fun dives.
Oh, I got what are the fun dives? Before I didn't mean to interrupt you.
The fun dives are like free. Just come try it out. Like
okay.
I've never done it before. I don't know. Like man, come to a fun dive, and that's how we spread the community. And it's not. There's no agenda. It's just for fun. We just love it.
Yeah. For sure, and that's a good way to like get people that are going to introduce themselves to it or whatever. Oh, yeah. I want to dive back. I want to talk about the tournaments a little bit, and this is selfish questioning, man, because I haven't done one yet, but I'd love to do one here in the future. Like what is the let's say there's one in 2 or 3 months. Like how does a guy prepare for them? Is it, and I guess it sounds like a weird question, but what's the level of seriousness, Brett? Yeah. Like, is it if I'm just a guy that's like, only been diving a few times, can I do one of these, or how, like what's the level of it?
Absolutely.
I got you.
Absolutely. All levels. And here's the thing. you could be a really badass ocean diver. Like we have a lot of them from Florida, Hawaii coming
Sure.
out right now. Come to freshwater, it's a different game. It's a level playing field. It's colder. It's green water. It's not like that 100, 200-foot biz you might get used to in
Yeah.
Hawaii or whatever. And
Sure.
it's just like we're all like brothers in arms and brothers in misery together. And it's a leveling playing field. And it's so much fun, man. Like just do it. And just do it because of who you're going to meet, not about taking home hardware. Like taking home hardware happens in the raffle. You can
Yeah,
get
I
some
got you.
badass raffles that you go home with
Sure.
for $5. And then you learn. You're like, oh, this is my guy. You create a little social network. You hook up with other guys, and next thing you know, in a few years, you're competing seriously for champion level, you know,
Right.
prizes and trophies, as well as making Team USA to go compete internationally. Like it happens that quick. You just got to
Yeah,
start.
yeah, sure. Yeah, which is cool that you guys it's inviting that way because and I just frankly asked because different things are different that way. You know, like I view, you know, a lot of my viewership's going to be familiar with like TAC events, you know, total
Yeah,
archery challenge events, and they're very much that way. Like they're
yeah,
pretty much just an event to have fun. You could have shot your bow twice in the backyard and you're not going to be embarrassed or whatever. Like you'll have fun. And then there's people there that are,
super
high
serious.
high level
Yeah,
people. But then there's firearm type of things that I've been to where it's like, oh, it's a little bit different feel. You know what I mean? And
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, it's good to know that they're inviting and they just sound like fun, man. What
Yeah.
how are they scored and all that, Brett? Like how do you guys do it?
Yeah, every tournament's got its own little nuances, and we do that based on the species that we're going to be going after, and just to mix it up, right? So right away, we talk about this tournament is the national tournament. It's the USOA Underwater Society of America. National Freshwater Spearfishing Association is hosting the national tournament. Top divers all around the United States are coming, and we're meeting in Lake Pleasant, Arizona, about an hour, 45 minutes northwest of Phoenix, and we're going to
Sure.
go after invasive species only. So the Arizona Fish and Game are like, hey, you guys are coming. Can you help us with this? And they want us to
Yeah.
tackle carp. They want us to go after gizzard shad, and they want us to go after striper. And we score it 1 point per fish for the carp and for the shad. Doesn't matter what size they are. And we score it 3 points per fish for the striper. The striper are a little deeper, a little harder. So you got
Okay.
a strategy decision. Like, am I going after striper? Am I going to go try to find striper and shoot 20 of those for 60 points? Or do I try to get 60 carp or 30 carp, 30 shad? You know, you kind of got to figure it out. Then there's other tournaments like we had last year in Wisconsin, Lake Geneva, the Nationals in Lake Geneva, where I grew up, like my hometown. We did 1 point per pound and 1 point per fish for rock bass. So we shot 20 rock bass, and you know your typical guy was ended up with a pound and a half fish, so something like that, or a pound and a half. So you got like
Sure.
45, 50 points for your rock bass, and then we had 5 carp, and those were just 1 point per carp. So we just mix and match just to make it interesting and fun. Like I always say, we want it to be fun, fair, fresh, and competitive. That's it.
Sure.
And if you got those elements, people are coming back and they're just enjoying it.
Yeah, well, dude, I like the like mixed scoring thing because then not everybody's playing the same game. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Everybody's got like a different strategy to what they're doing and all of
yeah.
that. Are they mostly boat based tournaments or are they
No,
shore diving?
mix and match again. You
Okay.
know, Wisconsin, we prohibited boats. No boats allowed. So
Okay.
Wisconsin, you could swim only. We did a Kona Hawaii Nationals, which was kayak only.
Okay.
Now at Lake Pleasant, you can have a boat. You can shore dive. This is your choice, right?
Okay.
Um, certain lakes are more set up for shore diving than
Yeah,
others.
just access or whatever.
Size, access,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So we try to make it fair. We want everybody of all levels and all means, like if you can't own a boat or rent a boat or whatever, like we still want you to come and have fun and be competitive,
Sure.
right? So we
Yeah.
try to mix and match that. But that's where just getting into some of these tournaments and trying it out is absolutely like invaluable. And you'll just meet a community of people you didn't know existed who end up
Yeah.
becoming like your best friends.
Yeah, dude, and I will say that's for me personally. That's kind of one of the challenges with diving. Like you tend to want to dive, you want to dive with somebody
Yeah.
else
Oh,
typically.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not the only one that does this, but for sure, like I dive alone sometimes. I dive
Yep.
lobsters alone and stuff like that. And I don't like doing it, but I think that's part of the reason in the States that I don't dive as much, Brett, because I don't have people around. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That like just that I know like that want to go dive. And I feel like it'd be a good way to meet people in that regard too,
Oh,
you know.
110%. And like I keep talking about the National Freshwater Spearfishing Association. If you go to their website, we have a community map there. And
Oh, okay.
whoever wanted to has put their name out there, said, yeah, raise my hand. Yeah, this is where I live. These are the places I like to dive. If you're in the area, hit me up. And dude, there's like 50, 60 people that
Oh, really?
all over the United States that
Sure.
voluntarily put out their contact info for any old random dude, whomever may want to try it. Like it's literally that kind of a, just humble roots, just fun people that want engagement,
Sure.
want a dive buddy that, for again, safety, for all the reasons. It's
Right.
better, like I got my best hunting buddy, right? Like me and him, his name is Crazy Joel, and we hunt Colorado, we hunt Kansas, we hunt, all over the United States together every year. And it's just me and him. He's my only guy. But
Right.
like, dude, I can get on any boat in 50 states with the community map. Like it's that easy in
Sure.
freshwater.
Yeah. And that's again the reflection of that it's pretty inviting. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And there's not this limited resource feeling about it, which again, like I think that's hard if people have never felt what I'm talking about, it may be hard for them to relate, but if they felt it, they know exactly what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
sounds like a lie. Like I feel like it's like this guy's lying to me. He's got an ulterior motive to get me to do this. Oh man, it's really different, and it's probably because people like us have been burned out by the public land BS of chasing big game animals and only ever having one good hunting buddy because everybody else is playing secret games and doing stuff, right? Like
Sure.
like freshwater is just like we're here for fun, man. Like these are just silly fish. Like yeah, there's records. Yeah, I've got several world records myself, and like
Sure.
I'll be a little more tight-lipped about those.
Yeah.
But like you can figure it out. Like just once you get into it, man, like it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, let's talk about kids and spearfishing, man.
Absolutely.
Um, I because one of you, are all your kids spearfishermen?
So I only have one
Oh, you just have
son.
one kid. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I
And,
gotcha.
and it's good. And he is an absolute psychopath. Like, whatever it was, I guess like, I didn't have this opportunity growing up. We didn't have YouTube, but like there's so much. You Google spearfishing or put
Oh
on
yeah.
YouTube and they're everywhere. And so you can become like hyper proficient. Plus everybody's in 4K, everything GoPro. Like
Sure.
the technology explosion here in the last 20 years is insane. So my son
Yeah.
grew up watching dad and his buddies in 4K on YouTube, and it was like enamored by it, and it is really
Right.
awesome. And so he's a psychopath. He he just started out watching videos and got just this burning passion to do it. And he was 3 years old in the Bahamas, like on my back in 50 feet of water with a life jacket and a wetsuit. And, I'm diving down, shooting groupers. He's pointing them out to me. He got his head in the water. It's insane. And just, he took to it. And then from there, last year he entered his tournament. It was like, it's always my tournament. His dad, my tournament.
He's getting ready for his
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah, I got into his tournament. It was at Nationals. It was the second day of Nationals. We ran a juniors tournament called Juniors at World Spearfishing Jaws.
Oh, cool.
And we got an awesome sponsor, SoFlo Spearfishing, and ended up giving 20 kids complete setups from SoFlo. Just here, it's free tournament, free gear for the kids. 20 kids came out with
That's awesome.
one kid shooter and an adult mentor. We had Team USA athletes mentoring, 6,
Oh,
8,
okay.
10,
So
12-year-olds.
they get a dive with somebody's pretty pretty darn good. Yeah.
And dude, there was no lack for mentors. Like at the banquet the night before, everybody's drinking beer, telling stories about how great their tournament was, their hardware they won. And it was like, hey, we need anybody else? We need some more adult mentors. Anybody else want to come out tomorrow? And bro, we were turning people away. I mean, the
Yeah.
turnout
Sure.
for the mentorship was super. And So that's the kind of stuff we're wanting to expand the sport just for the love of the sport. If we don't, it's just going to go away.
Yeah, dude, it's funny, Brett, because I don't hunt with my kids, and I'm embarrassed to say that because they're old enough now that they totally hunt. But I think it's because I did it for a living. I selfishly like haven't made it a priority to hunt with them, but I do dive with them, particularly my older diver or my older daughter, and
Yeah,
it's fun, man. It's really fun
it's
to dive. It's fun to dive with your kids, and I think it's because it's a little bit different in the sense that you're like when you're diving with somebody, you're actually like hunting. You're like hunting with them. It's not
together.
just it's not just sitting in a spot and telling your kid to constantly be quiet. You're actually hunting together. Which I think is cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. And besides like waterfowl hunting or something where you can talk and interact, like
Yeah.
mostly hunting is just like quiet and you're kind of frustrated with your kid breaking a twig or whatever.
Yeah.
But if spearfishing is
Sure.
like you're swimming around, you're looking for fish, you're diving down, and freshwater is a great place to start a kid, especially with like bluegill or something really small and manageable that you can really control the experience, and make it super safe for them. Like my son started spearfishing with a life jacket on. Like
Sure.
I didn't trust that he was going to be, not drowned. Right. I want him to be safe.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
just shot fish from the surface, and I could kind of hold him by the elbow. I'd let him hold the gun with one hand, and I would hold the muzzle to be sure the muzzle of the gun was pointed in a safe direction at all times, especially not at my jugular. And then
Yeah.
I would just swim him around really slow, and he would spot the fish, and then when I could see he spotted it, I let him take the gun and push it out and try to shoot. We made a ton of misses, of course, but we made a ton of
Right.
memories, man. We made a ton of memories, and
Yeah.
he just took off with it. And this year he's proficient. We were in Bahamas over New Year's, and he dove down like 17 feet. He's six
Nice.
years old. Yeah, 17 feet, and he
Oh,
spiked
he's still little, man. That's
little.
impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
dove down. He spiked an octopus on the ground.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I spied an octopus out of the hole, and he saw it and dove down, spiked it, and we brought it home, and that's good food. We ate
Sure.
good that night with that little octopus. And I mean, talk about being proud of yourself, right? Like that's a novelty to be able to provide for your family and do that kind of stuff. But his experience in freshwater just built his confidence to be able to get out into some really calm ocean water, really, really calm.
Right.
Because ocean can be rough, but it's a great way to start them out.
Yeah, and it's interesting, man, because you know I, I I've dealt like years ago when there was an abalone season in California. I was going to school there. I dove for abalone, so I kind of got that that murky water, low visibility exposure. But to this day, Brett, like I'm still a little intimidated by no like low visibility stuff, and then also when you're in colder water, just wearing more. Most guys just don't dive as well. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that's an anomaly, but this comes up as a concern for people that are getting into to fresh water. They're like, oh,
Sure.
it's all the water around me is cold, all of it's murky. I mean, do you got any thoughts? I mean, I have when an elk hunter tells me that, my reaction is like, dude, none of it's worse than the shit you are already putting yourself through. So I have to laugh a little bit, but I also have to take it for what it's worth and kind of give them some thought of like how do you get through that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, part of being a man is learning to conquer your fears, right? I mean,
Sure.
like, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Like, we got to be comfortable being uncomfortable to be successful at spearfishing. Whether that means holding your breath and feeling like, oh, I'm running out of air, which you're not.
Right.
Your urge to breathe is the CO2 buildup. The murky and the darkness, like, yeah, dude, I don't like it either. I love diving Bahamas, gin clear, 100-foot viz, or Caribbean in Cancun is epic.
Sure.
I get it. But man, to mitigate that, like that mental challenge, like start in some structure. Like if it's, lakes are generally the clearest by the dam. And the dams generally have like riprap that kind of goes in at about a 45-degree
Okay.
angle. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, and rip rap, you mean like big rocks?
bigger rocks, that's designed to protect the wave action against the dam. It's designed to prevent erosion of the
Sure.
dam. So that rock, that whatever 12 to 20 inch broken rock, that riprap, is also excellent structure for fish, right? And so
Right.
start by a dam if you can. And if you feel like, it's murky, I want to dive to 20 feet, but I can only see 5 feet. All right, well, start at 5 feet, hit the bottom, and follow that bottom on a 45-degree angle down. And you're always in touch with the rocks, and it looks like you have something to relate to, right? And
Sure.
and that, I think, just kind of keeps giving you, like, I don't know, confidence, or just as a literal touchstone. And when you get to the depth where you think the fish are, which is generally where the thermocline is, where you feel the water cold against your face, the top layer of the water is warmer. At a certain point, the water gets colder, and that layer is called the thermocline right there. Lay on the thermocline and just wait. And those
Yeah.
techniques will, you just, again, through repetition, those techniques will become familiar, and you know you'll be proficient and you'll be good in no time.
Sure. It's probably, I mean, those areas are probably good spots to find fish too. And sorry,
Always.
Brett, when you were talking, I had a little bit of a lag, kind of broke up a little bit, but I think I caught it all. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good approach, just because you're going to not only be able to dive it comfortably, but you're going to be into probably where the fish are at
Into
too,
the
you know?
fish. Yeah, some of the most consistent fishing is around the dams, and even like tournament anglers that do like e-scouting or whatever, they'll tell you that, like, start at the dam, and that's the most consistent kind of fishing spots in general. So if that's an option, number two option, find some carp. There's shallow fish, like we've said, we
Sure.
bow hunted them, whatever. If you're already used to bow hunting, you kind of already know where they are. Get into some carp, man. Blast those jokers. They're invasive species everywhere. They tear up the bottom. They eat all the invertebrates that the bait fish and such feed on, that then builds the larger food chain, right? So nobody likes carp. Everybody wants them dead. They're limitless. You could never shoot enough carp to kill them
Yeah.
all.
And they're big in some spots.
Big, big.
Yeah.
We got so the world record was shot last year in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. 44 pounds.
That's wild, dude.
Freaking giant.
Yeah, and I think that I think that's a fish that people don't realize is accessible in a lot of places, and it's big in a lot of places. Like, I didn't realize in Oregon, I went up to Washington and dove with some guys, and we shot a bunch of carp, and then I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. And then right by my house, I started looking at like some of the sloughs and that sort of thing when I was hiking with my kids, and I was like, oh shit, these carp
Yeah,
are just as big, if not
yeah,
bigger. And I had no idea. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And like, they're 10 minutes from my house, and I think there's a lot of people that have that, you know.
Absolutely. And that's where my son got started, just absolutely gone ape shit, was me just slowly swimming with him through 3 foot deep stuff, and he's shooting carp nearly straight down or slightly in front of him. And you get
Sure.
a kid on a 10-pound carp, you get a
Yeah.
40-pound kid on a 10-pound carp, it's a fight. And it's
Yeah,
awesome
yeah.
to watch them do it and to figure it out on their own. And, of course, you got to take over at some point to kill that fish and put it
Sure.
out of its misery. But, man, in the middle, they've built some memories.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, honestly, even if you're an adult and you've never
Oh,
if you never shot a
oh,
fish, go shoot a 20-pound carp and see
oh.
how it'll kind of get your heart rate up, I promise you.
It'll humble a strong man. They will
Yeah.
absolutely beat the fire out of
Yeah.
you with their tails. And yeah, it's an experience, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's and I totally agree with you on the whole invasive thing and all of that. But those big ones, they're actually kind of in a way, they're a pretty fish. They're kind of amazing, like the armor-esque type of scales they have on them is wild, you know.
Some people eat them. The common carp. Some people eat them. There's common carp, grass carp, and then there's two species of buffalo: big mouth and smallmouth buffalo. They all kind of look the same, right? That
Oh,
armored
okay,
scale and that sucker barbell mouth.
sure.
But the buffalo actually really good eating. The buffalo ribs.
Oh,
If
really?
you've never had buffalo big mouth or smallmouth buffalo ribs, try that. Carp, take it or leave it. A lot of Asian cultures do eat
Sure.
them. I've tried them. It's all right. I would, I just
Yeah.
focus on the conservation part for a carp, right? I mean, you can
Yeah.
eat coyote. You can eat coyote, but there's other reasons to
Yeah.
kill coyote. You know.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. But I do got to ask, because I actually just had this discussion with somebody and we never got to a clear answer. Is there an issue with filleting carp? Do they have like different anatomy?
Yeah, I mean, like any kind of fish that's like a heavy bone structure, right? So,
Okay.
so most people with freshwater, and you being a saltwater guy, or at least familiar with, how your uncle has to fillet a
Sure.
thousand fish every weekend with
Right.
clients. You don't just go sawing through the rib bones like you would with a freshwater, like little
Right.
perch or a walleye, right? There's a different technique you need to use, and you hit the ribs, you fold up and over the ribs, and you follow them around with heavy boned saltwater fish. We're already used to that.
Yeah.
Same thing with carp. They got a heavy bone structure. Don't don't pretend you can just rip through them like a bluegill. Like fillet them a little bit differently around the heavier bony carcass.
Okay.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
it's not. Yeah, I got you. I had this
And they're
for
not like
some.
alien. Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
like
yeah. For some reason, that's how they've been depicted to me. It's like, oh well, you can't fillet them because they got like their pin bones or actually like another rib cage or something.
I mean, whatever, man. Cut into
Yeah.
them, cut around the bones,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
eat the
sure.
meat, and then from there decide if you want to keep doing it or not. Like they're filter feeders on the bottom. They filter out invertebrates from sand and muck and gunk, and
Sure.
they're just very slimy, kind of off-putting lifestyle, right? But so are catfish, and everybody loves catfish, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, it's just it's interesting. So that's in terms of like a freshwater fish to target for somebody starting. Is that what you would recommend? Carp.
Yeah, yeah. Carp is going to be your first like big game experience, right? Or else, like I
Right.
said, I started on panfish, where legal, panfish are one of the best targets because one, they're excellent to eat, and two, there's lots and lots of them, and there's just opportunities everywhere, and they're easy.
Sure.
Carp can be, dude. They're a game fish. Like
Yeah,
they'll be
challenge.
down 30 feet of water, big as hell, and interesting.
Yeah, what strategy do you use for carp? I've been with some guys that did like varying things, and I was kind of surprised. But what do you have any tactics you use?
Yeah, I mean, time of the year depicts your tactics, right? Like right now for the Nationals, everybody is targeting spawning, aggregating fish. So this time of year, the water temps reaching the low to mid 60s, and carp
Okay.
spawn on. They like to spawn on like sticks, twigs, brush, tumbleweeds, whatever, weeds, and they spawn against that. So this time of year, up in those shallows, like where the water warms up quicker, you're gonna
I
find
gotcha.
carp. But dude, they move down in the summer. They'll be deep. I mean, we shot carp at Lake Leable last year at 55 feet in September.
Oh, okay.
They're down deep, and I like to just basically. It's like you just go into an area like elk hunting, right? You don't just go in and just start like bashing around the woods, right? You
Sure.
slowly poke your way in. You poke your head around. You glass. You look. You listen. And then you wait for a while, and you're like, well, maybe I'll get a little more involved, and you start maybe stalking a little. You push into the dark timber a little bit and ease around, right? Same thing with carp. Like start out in that glass looking idea and dive down to the thermocline. Again, everything's around the thermocline, and just wait. Lay on the bottom like a piece of trash. Carp are curious. Fish are curious in general.
Right.
They use their lateral line like as a sense, like an electrical sense thing. They feel you. They don't necessarily see you. They feel you.
Sure.
And lay on the bottom. Keep your spear gun back. Don't like leave it extended out like whatever. Like you see a guy hunting moo in Hawaii. Like just keep it right next to you, alongside of you. And I shoot carp like 4 inches in front of my face all the time. They just
Yeah,
come
I
right up
gotcha.
to you. Yeah.
Sure. They're
And
just
so
they're curious.
curious. Yeah. Just step one, start with that, and then make a few dives like that. If you're not finding them, just, dive, move, dive, move, dive, move. If you're not finding them, then maybe do like a dive swim. So dive down and just swim around the thermocline for a while, like 10, 15 feet, and see if you bump one. Oh, shoot. I
Right.
did bump one. Okay.
Sure.
Now go up and reset and just like slowly, approach them.
Yeah, you know what I found with them, and I've only, well, I think I've dove for them like 3 or 4 times, but really just one day we shot like a boat full of them, and
Hammered.
yeah, in that day though, I felt like it was, I was surprised. It was pretty low visibility water, but I was surprised how you could go into an area with a couple guys and you'd first get in the water, swim around a little bit, like not be too disruptive, and you're just watching, and you'd see a lot of them. But once you killed one, they dissipated really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, which in at least for me, it seemed kind of a stark difference to what I've seen on like reefs in saltwater. You start shooting
Mhm.
a couple fish, all of a sudden like they're kind of like all of a sudden more fish show up, you know? But with carp, I was like, oh wow, like the whole, they've all left, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and thinking about that reef that you said, where you shoot a few fish, they show up. Well, you're building like a chum style food chain,
Yeah,
right?
right,
You
right.
get some guts in the water, some blood in the water. You know, the
Sure.
little fish come out, and then the bigger fish are coming out to see what the commotion is because they're all trying to get a piece of that action.
Right.
Carp, carp are invertebrate feeders. If they hear
Yeah,
a
they're
big
not
thump,
interested.
thump, yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
get out of here. Something's
Yeah.
beating us up.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the difference, and they're smarter than sometimes people even give them credit.
All right, guys, so I wanted to mention that I'm having these custom skinning knives made. These are called Cliff Skinner. I've got a whole bunch of reasons why I've had this knife made the way that it's made. Got a short video on the website. The details are there. pursuitwithcliff.com. Click in the corner up by shop. You'll see Cliff Skinner. Click that puppy. You'll get all the details. Sure. Yeah, yeah. They what about some of these other fish, man? Have you dove for walleye much and,
Oh
and
yeah,
those fish? What's the,
yeah.
what's the tactics on them? I mean, they're a predator fish, like they're like a little mini wahoo, right?
They're I would call them like a freshwater grouper. They're very
Oh, okay, okay,
structure
okay.
oriented fish. They're like an ambush predator.
I got
They're
you.
very active, diurnal, right? Very active in morning and night. So you know, if you're hunting them in the morning and at night, that lay down tactic again works really good, and they'll just cruise right into you, really slow, give you that side walleye eye. They just kind of glance by you.
Sure.
Other than that, middle of the day, you can catch them sleeping. I mean, literally sleeping, laying on the bottom next to a rock, and you'll
Oh,
spike
okay.
them. They won't even know you're there. So there's again two different techniques for the same body of water, just different times of the day.
Sure.
Like a bass or a smallmouth bass, I call it like a freshwater snapper. They're a lot more aggressive. They're up in your business. They come and check you out.
Sure.
Versus grouper, like I was talking about, you kind of got to find them in structure and so forth. Same as walleye. So
Right. Man,
those are your favorite game fish generally.
Is bass spearing legal anywhere?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Arkansas, it's legal.
Oh,
Utah,
okay.
it's legal. Nebraska, you know, quite a few places. Wyoming, quite a few places allow bass, and it's funny because it's kind of one of those sacred cows, right? And they're
Sure.
actually really good to eat. Like, I feel like it's the bass tournament angler people that
Oh,
kind of
okay. Yeah, yeah.
like told us it wasn't good to eat. Same as the billfish people swear, oh, marlin,
Yeah.
marlin doesn't taste good at all. No, bro, you're wrong.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. No,
So,
I'm sure that's what it is. That makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? But the reason I ask is that there's for sure places that I've been in recent history where it seems like the smallmouth are like out of control. You
out
know
of
what I
control.
mean? Yeah.
They're up in your face. There'll be clouds and surrounded of
Yeah.
them. And go on YouTube and watch some of the guys in Michigan that have really clear water, and they can't spear bass there, but they're just surrounded by these lunker smallmouths, right? And they're just right up in their face. Like you got to push them aside to try to find a walleye or something. It's crazy.
For sure, man. No, that's cool. It'll be awesome to see how it all evolves, man. I think we've done a pretty good job of giving the case for why more guys should do it, dude.
Yeah, 100%. And there's
Brett,
really no downside, man. Like I just you kind of said this earlier. Like, oh, I'm sure you can think of a couple downsides, and I can't, unfortunately. Like there's no conservation impact reasons that this is a bad choice. There's no
sure.
health reasons. Like you're literally eating sustainable, selective fish in a physical activity that's good for your health and it's good for your mind and your body. Like that underwater mind body connection is as you know, like it's nearly
Right.
spiritual. It's like totally a connection thing.
Yeah, and I think it's a hard one for people to relate to until they've done it, Brett. I feel like there's a curve, right? You go start everybody's probably done a little snorkeling, then people start doing a little free diving and they find it just real uncomfortable. And then if you just get through that and maybe get a little training or whatever, then I think you hit what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the physiological loop is so tight. Like you get the feet. Like, dude, I know. Like, if I went diving tomorrow, the first dive I take, I'll know if I slept good the night before.
Sure.
Or anything, like any little thing in your life that you have like a dull response, like you're sitting at your desk, you're like, I'm kind of tired. I wonder why I'm tired, or whatever. Whenever you're free diving, it's all very clear. Like, like, okay, I did something recently that's making me feel this way, because diving like doesn't give you any forgiveness on that. Like
No slack.
yeah,
Yep.
you have that, but then when you're feeling good, it's amazing in that regard too. It's addicting, dude. I, you
100%.
know, you
Yeah,
know,
100%. And your audience, is mostly that Western hunter or aspiring Western hunter that's after a mind body challenge. And one of the things I picked up listening to your podcast is like, if you're going on a 5-day hunt all 5 days. Plan on
sure.
keep grinding mentally. Don't give up. Like, because it's so easy to go 3 days without seeing an elk and be like, this sucks. It's over.
Right.
And
Sure.
that mental toughness is really what comes through in spearfishing. Like, it helps you build mental toughness. It helps you cross train not only physically for your elk pursuit or mountain hunting, but it also cross trains you mentally. Because like
Oh
breath
yeah.
work, that breath holding, breath work, all this stuff, you're just in this Zen state, and you're just, when you're in the zone, you're in the zone, and that
Yeah.
crosses over
Yeah.
immensely in those pursuits.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's like I'm glad you said that, man, because you could show me a 120-pound dainty gal that's like a 250-foot free diver with a 4 minute breath hold or something, and that person has such a stronger control of like mind over matter stuff and just mental toughness than
Yeah.
any guy I know in the mountains. And it's I that's all I can. It's just the God's honest truth, because like how many different things she has to deal with to get to that point. It's a totally different. It's like a totally different spectrum. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I mean, a 250-foot free diver is next level, right? And
Yeah,
yeah, I
sure.
100% agree. And so that's why you see so many of the Instagram influencer or whatever spear fishermen that cross into all these different hunting pursuits, and they're all very good at it. And
Yeah,
it's like
sure.
it's easy to be like, oh, they're connected through whatever spearfishing sponsor. No, dude. People that are spearfishing, it's like this little hidden community of like, oh, Cliff's a Spiro, he's a pretty tough,
Sure.
mentally tough guy. Like I know I can count on Cliff in a situation, right? Like I know he's gonna be solid around the campfire. Like you just it's kind of like a little badge of honor because we're such a small niche group and we each know each other. Like I've seen more naked dudes than I would care to admit, but it's like
Yeah, yeah.
you know somebody, right? Like, and
Sure.
I feel like that all comes from that shared learned mental toughness of just being underwater, being in tune with your body, knowing when it's time to come up and get air, and knowing when your body's trying to trick you with carbon dioxide buildup.
Yeah,
And that's,
sure.
I think that's the whole like nexus of this sport.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, dude, is like that mental trick that you're talking about, it's compressed in a little time frame. Like to me it's analogous to the guy quitting in the middle of an elk hunt, but it's more an extended thing. Like every time you free dive, there's moments of your brain telling you, "Hey, you got to quit." And
Yeah.
you're not even close to actually having to quit.
No, no.
Like you're not even close. But you get that it's like a much tighter feedback loop. So I think it's really interesting, and it for sure is analogous, because it's the same thing too, man. Like you can power through that moment, and then all of a sudden that it goes away. It's kind of I think it's a very good thing to get good at, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You hit your zone. You learn to trust yourself. You learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable, which goes into every other aspect of your life. Like if I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, I'm gonna do well in life. Like
sure,
we all run into periods of uncomfortableness, and that's where those are the defining moments, right, in our lives in one way or another. So I think
right.
this is a great lifetime activity to help you through those kind of trials and tribulations in all of life.
Yeah, for sure, man. Good deal. Well, thanks, Brent. I appreciate your time, man. Where can people? I mean, well, first of all, like all the stuff we talked about, like what's the primary resource that they should go check out?
Yeah, obviously, just YouTube, it allows you to see everything that you want with regard to the spearfishing world, and even some stuff that's probably not right, but it's publicity. So,
Sure.
that's one. After that, if you think freshwater and you want to make that leap into the water but don't know how to do it, hit up the National Freshwater Spearfishing Association. on Instagram, Facebook, or the www.nationalfreshwaterspearfishing.org. If you want to find me personally, you can just Google my name. My number will come up, or my Instagram is my name. Like, it's just find me. I'm out there. We're here to help. We want more people like us to hang out with, and that's it.
Awesome, dude. I love it, dude. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, it was awesome, Cliff. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this content, do me a huge favor. Subscribe on whatever platform you consume it on. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever works for you guys. Everything else is on my website, pursuitwithcliff.com. Go there and it's going to be very apparent to you that I work my ass off just to not have a real job. All the hunts I guide, all the seminars I put on, all the unique experiences I offer, and the membership site, all the details are there.